Sorry, guys, I knocked my own self out, but I'm going to go on and get out of the way. I am Phyllis Nash, your Chief Sales Officer here at Akana, one of the four co-founders, and always excited to be before you. And I'm going to bring up our own Coach Dan. Like Dr. Rye said last week, he is someone that is wanted all over the world. As you see, he takes us on many of his travels. He shares with us many of his family stories. I love stories because that's how people really relate, because you can relate to him and some of his children's stories. And he graces us with his presence every Wednesday morning to bring us nuggets, to guide us, to take us to the next level. And so without further ado, I want to intro to you Coach Dan, Pastor Dan, Motivator Dan, and he can wear all of those hats equally well. Coach Dan, are you out there?
Absolutely, absolutely. Great morning, great morning, great morning. Truly, we are so grateful for another day, another opportunity to really just become. Because every day we go to sleep at night, every day we wake up in the morning, Miss Phyllis, is a day, another day to become. We're always in the process of becoming. We're always in the process of growing, of evolving. And so it is with our businesses. Those of us that have made a commitment to build business, the key word in building business is build. And the building process and building is process. And it's not something that happens overnight. It's not something that happens immediately, but it happens over a period of time. Most oftentimes when I talk to successful people, it looks like they were an overnight success. But the truth of the matter is they were not an overnight success. It just you just did not see the building process behind the scenes. Last night, I was watching Shark Tank. Oftentimes, the missus and I would sit and we'll find ourselves watching Shark Tank. And I was watching Shark Tank, and there was a story of a man that came from Honduras with his family at the age of 16. When he got here, he did not have the ability to speak English. He did not speak English, but his parents, especially his father, was adamant about education. Well, this gentleman went to school, received as a food scientist, received his bachelor's degree, master's degree, and ultimately a PhD in that particular field. He also became a bodybuilder in that process. He worked for multiple high-level food companies, but he wasn't breaking the mold. He wasn't breaking the mold. He did not have breakthrough. It was not until he gave his presentation, and his presentation to the Shark Tank, whereby he had product, but he didn't have the capacity to scale it. He did not have the capacity to take it to the next level. And he had been working at it for 4 years. Listen to this now. He has been working at it for 4 years. And in the 4th year, he only had gained $104,000 in sales. But he'd been working at it for 4 years. It was not until he got into the tank and lo and behold, one of the sharks decided to bet their money on him. And as a result, of course, the rest is subsequently history. At the end of the interview, he was weeping. And he was weeping because even though he started the business 4 years ago, he actually started the process 35 years ago. And it took him 35 years to get to the level that he had been working so hard to get to. Now, I'm not suggesting at all that any of us have to work 35 years to get to the level that we're seeking to get to. But I am suggesting that we understand that it is a process, and it is a process that we must continue to work through in order until we find our it, until we find what's the right fit for us as it pertains to building this particular business. Now, last week we talked about setting ourselves up where we can have residual income, and setting ourselves up where we are easily being able to meet the needs of the constituents that we are working with. Today, I want us to consider a couple of things. The foundational principle that you hear me discuss with you on a consistent basis is the principle of properly positioning your proposition. Everything that we ever talk about, I'm always introducing this concept because it is this concept that is going to help you grow your business, whether you're growing your business in customers or whether you're growing your business in business builders. If we do not know how to properly position our proposition, then it is going to be more difficult to build the business and ultimately scale the business. Now, in properly positioning the proposition, there's a couple of things that we must understand. The first thing that we must understand is what we've talked about before. We've talked about consultative selling, or consultative selling. And what this basically is, it's really you're consulting while you're selling. But in your consultation is not what you are saying. Listen to me clearly. Your consultation is not what you are saying. I'm going to say it again. Your consultation is not what you are saying. Because a lot of times when we are selling, we're doing more talking than anything. And because we're doing more talking than anything, we're not listening. And because we're not listening, we're not hearing. And because we're not hearing, we're not able to properly position our proposition, right? So your consultative selling is not what you are saying, but it is what you are asking. It is what you are asking. It is the questions that you are asking when you sit down, watch this, as a health and wellness professional. When you sit down as a health and wellness coach, when you sit down as a health and wellness expert, you are sitting down having a consultative meeting by asking the right questions. Now, what you should do is the questions that you ask are questions that are identifying questions. Why? Because you're seeking to identify how you're going to properly position your proposition. See, this is so important because sometimes, so many times, oftentimes, we find ourselves telling. We tell about our experience, the experience. We tell about the product. We tell about the company. We tell about the money that can be made. We tell the stats. We tell the facts. We do all of the telling, but in our telling, we don't know if anything that we are telling has pulls on the pains, the fears, the desires, and the needs of the person that we're talking to. You can tell me, watch this, here we go, and I'm about to go back to the Shark Tank. You can tell me all you want as to how much money this particular product can make, right? But a shark in the tank will tell you it's not just about money. I got plenty of money. I want to know the story behind it. A lot of times they invest not in the fact that they can make money. they invest in the story. So if you come to someone like me and say, hey, Coach Dan, you can make a lot of money if you come in, well, I don't necessarily need to come into there to make a lot of money. So that's the wrong way to motivate me. That's the wrong way to position me, because I'm not pursuing money. Wow. Miss Phyllis told you that she told you the story a long time ago that when we came together, we had came together in a couple of things, and then she said to me, she came back with some other things, and I said, Miss Phyllis, I'm not coming getting back involved in MLMs or anything of that nature unless it's for us, by us. So she knew she couldn't come and say, Dan, you can make money. Dan, I know you got people you could do. She knew that was not the communication to position me to say yes. The way that she properly positioned her proposition to me was to tell me who ownership was. Now, the reason she knew that is because she had information. Because Phyllis, Miss Phyllis will ask, well, Dan, why won't you do? And in her asking the question, I gave her the answer. And then she waited and waited and waited until she was able to properly position her proposition to me, and it automatically got a yes. And as many of you that's on the call that we've helped to coach and help to build your business. So you have to ask the right question. Now, what are the right questions? The right questions are identifying questions. And there's three things you're seeking to identify. There's three things in your consultative selling. There's three things that you're seeking to identify. The first thing that you are seeking to identify is a need. What does this person need? The second thing, and I'm not going to expound on all of these because of the time, but the second thing that you must identify is a problem. Because sometimes a need and a problem are two different things. Right? The third thing you must identify in your concept is a passion or the why. What's their why? What's motivation? What's their passion? Is their why, here we go, is their why because of health? Is their why because they need money? Is their why because once you understand the need, once you understand the problem, once you understand the why or their motivation, then you know how to properly position what it is that you have. But you will only know it by asking the right questions. You will only know it by asking the right questions. And so today, as I get ready to short circuit this session for this morning, I want you to go into today thinking about the questions that you're going to ask instead of the facts that you're going to tell. Think about the questions you're going to ask instead of the product you're trying to sell. Think about the questions you're going to ask instead of a statement you're trying to convince them of. Because it's in asking the right questions, you're going to find out their fears. You're going to find out their desires. And asking the right questions, you're going to find out their needs. You're going to find out their problems. You're going to find out their motivation. And then what you will do is you will marry, here we go, you will marry the meeting of the need, what you have to meet the need. You will marry what you have to their problem, the solution that you have to their problem. You will marry the opportunity that you have to their motivation. And when you introduce it, The goal, that's how you're going to properly position your proposition. And now, guess what? You're going to receive what's called SCOs. SCOs is standard client objection. You're going to receive them. You should expect them. But here is what I found whenever I come to what I've found is that if I go back to meeting the need, if I go back to the solution to their problem, if I go back to addressing their why, it's going to help you to overcome their standard client objection. Now, here's the other piece about asking the right questions. When you're asking the right questions, people will ultimately tell you how to sell them. When you're asking the right questions, they're ultimately going to tell you how to properly position your proposition. And if you're positioning something, if you're positioning something or proposing something, I should say, that they've already shared with you is not their motivation or is not, what they do, don't force that down their throat, because you're going to turn them off and they won't listen to anything. So it's imperative that you understand how to properly position your proposition in terms of asking the right questions. Today, what I want you to do, as you continue to talk to people, because everybody, this is a numbers game. Before that gentleman went into the Shark Tank and gave his proposal for his product, the truth of the matter was he had given many, many presentations to many, many people. It's a numbers game. So as you seek to talk to no less than 2 people today, and when I say talk to, not just a honorable mention, but actually be able to engage them in true as a health and wellness professional, then what I want you to do is I want you to be intentional about asking more questions than statements that you're making. The person that asks the most questions usually win. And that's because they're the one controlling the information that's coming in. If you ever want to win in a negotiation, there's 3 things that you have to control. You can write this down. If you're ever seeking a negotiation, you're sitting at the table and you're negotiating, there's 3 things that you have to position yourself for. Number 1, you have to control the information. The person that has the most information usually is going to have the upper hand in negotiations. Number 2, have the control of time. Time. Whoever controls the time typically controls the leverage of the negotiation. That's why everybody say for a limited time only. That's why even in Akana, they say, hey, this is going to be up for this amount of time, right? So information, time. And the third thing that you must be able to control is the position. Where are you at the negotiation table? If you are the one that's at the negotiating table with a position of desperation, you're probably going to lose. Or you're going to probably give in too soon or give up too much. If you're the one that's at the negotiation table and you are the one that has what is needed, or if you are the problem or you are the solution to the problem, then you better posture and position yourself to be able to leverage that. The beautiful thing about what we do, and those what I just shared with you are sales techniques and things of that nature. But the truth of the matter is, those are principles. We're not in a win-lose situation. I win, you lose. We're not negotiating at the table for somebody to get the upper hand and be able to walk away with the larger share of a deal. The truth is, when you sit down as a health and wellness professional, you're sitting down to help somebody else win. And when the goal is to help them win. So you're utilizing these techniques not for you to win, watch this, but to be able to help somebody else win. Because the truth is, some people don't know that they need what you got until you properly position your proposition to let them know that they do. And that's what this is all about. As you focus on helping them become healthier, helping them be able to generate generational wealth. But even before you get to that, helping them be able to pay a car note that they've been struggling with for the last 6 months. If you're able to help them feel better, if you're able to help them look better, then now you both win. But you have to be able to properly position your proposition in order to do that. And I'm always, learning comes through repetition. That's why you hear me say that phrase many times through our teachings, not to be redundant, but to be repetitive and to show you how this one principle in everything that we teach will help you to build your business. And if anybody need encouragement that says, hey, I've been doing this for this long, it hasn't hit yet. Let's think about that gentleman I told you last night on the Shark Tank. He was building a business for 4 years, got to 104,000, and he was at his wit's end. But he continued to push until he came in contact with the right person at the right time that could change his life forever. Matter of fact, that's what Mark Cuban said when he told him, I'm going to give you a deal and I'm getting ready to change your life forever. I want you to know that there's still time. The fact that you woke up this morning, there's still time to come in contact with the right person at the right time that has the capacity and the ability to change your life forever. But if that gentleman would have given up 3 years ago, 2 years ago, or a year ago, if that gentleman would not have kept pushing for what he believed in, he would have never got to the tank. And so I need you not to give up. Don't give up on your hopes. Don't give up on your dreams. Don't give up on the things that you have been desiring to do in this business and in your life. Because as long as you got breath in your body, there's an opportunity for you to have that once in a lifetime contact that can change your life for the rest of your life. Listen, I'm going to leave it right there, pass it back to the warm and wonderful Miss Phyllis. Thank you so much. And I want you all to have a supernatural, Akana kind of day. Until next time, as always, Coach Dan saying, prosper.
Okay, guys, you dropped the mic. You're right. Get to know what they need and then solve that problem. Thank you for that lesson, Doctor. Coach Dan. You're probably a doctor somewhere anyway. But guys, go out and push. Today is Wednesday. This is hump day. If you got a regular job, you're calling this halfway through. So go out there and push and let somebody know that you have something that can solve the issues that are going on in their lives. With that being said, thanks, Coach Dan, and bye now. Bye. Push, push, push.